Andy, the worst thing possible ever has happened.
You've been made president?
Second worst thing. Batman 77.
So this is the newest worst thing since Batman 76?
Oh, I want to see your live reaction when I tell you what's going on with this. And we will talk about that later in today's show because you have found yourself at the Comics Experiment, the show that is produced by the Comicstorian company Dan needs this phone. He'll come over in a second. The show that is produced right here at our company, Eligible Monster Productions, here on the Comicstorian channel that you can find on our YouTube channel every Saturday at youtube.com/Comicstorian. You can also find it live on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/EligibleMonster. Very soon going to be twitch.tv/Comicstorian every Thursday at about 2 p.m. Eastern when we start filming. And you can also find it over on our Patreon, patreon.com/Comicstorian, where you get early access and unedited. And, as I discovered recently, hello Spotify listeners. If you actually search Comics Experiment, all 86 episodes are on there.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Oh,
we don't sound that great in my car.
I can imagine. First of all, I always sound good.
Well, it's funny because like the audio thing, when we changed over to these microphones, you can clearly tell the difference.
Sure.
When you're listening to like in a car.
Right.
That we had a microphone issue or something's changing over. But either way, welcome everyone. Today's episode is brought to you by Quip, the best damn toothbrush in the entire world. As claimed by me, that's not actually their company's slogan. But if you're...
Although it should be.
It would be, yeah, it really should be. But no, Quip is a great toothbrush. I use it myself. It has a lot of systems within it where it can change over, tell you when to change to different sides of your mouth. It's dentist recommended, and it gets shipped to your house, so you don't have to worry about changing out your brush. I'll tell you more about that in the middle of today's episode, but they are our sponsor for today. We're also brought to you by G Fuel. G Fuel is a great energy supplement that I enjoy a lot myself, and I've been forcing Andy to enjoy.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yep. And if you go over to their store and use the code COMICS at checkout, you get 10% off. Are you okay?
I had an itch. It's the G Fuel.
And that is all of our sponsor stuff. And now I don't have chat in front of me because Dan took that away. So today's topic is going to be very simply Spider-Man and the Disney situation. We're also going to talk a little bit about Batman 77, but we'll do it in the back half of the episode so that you guys don't... If you have not read it and you don't want me to spoil it for you, you don't have to worry about it.
I don't want you to spoil it for me. I'm really interested to see where Tom King is taking his amazing magnum opus.
I really want to tell you, though.
We're going to get there.
I really want to tell you, though. It's going to be really great to see your face.
Screw it. We'll just do the whole thing.
The whole thing?
The whole episode will be you explaining this to me going, what?
All right, so anyway... let's go over a couple bullet points first. We just did a whiteboard rant on our main channel talking about this. I'm gonna catch everyone up so we can talk about this more in depth.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'll give you the bullet points at the beginning of the discussion. Dan will be joining us shortly. Today I am Benny. This is Andy for the audio listeners. Say hi.
Hi.
Dan will be joining us in a minute. He's working on the actual video that we filmed.
Sure.
So right now the situation is this. Originally, Sony and Disney came together, and the agreement was... And I've done some deep dives on this. A lot of rumors, a lot of misinformation.
Okay.
The only publicly available information from Sony or from Disney and confirmed by a bunch of financial websites. For the record, if you guys ever want to discuss, if you ever want to look into financial splittings and stuff like that, you go to the investor websites.
Right, yes.
Because those are the ones that are going to give you the nitty gritty. You don't go to Bleeding Cool. You don't go into
Right, because
IGN.
that's all just hearsay and whatnot.
Right. You
Yeah,
go to the
yeah.
people that are reporting the financials on the whole situation, especially since this is a financial deal. That's what
Right.
this whole
Yeah, I
thing
mean, it
was.
has nothing to do with the actual property. It's all a matter of the money.
Yep. So, the original deal, as I was able to find, was Sony would allow Marvel to use the character Spider-Man. Their character. Sony owns it.
Yes,
they would allow them to use
own the film rights to Spider-Man.
Right.
And have since the 90s?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Early 2000s?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
And the deal is as long as they make a movie every 5 years,
they
get to
maintain
keep it.
the property.
Yeah.
Yep.
If they don't make a movie, it reverts back to Disney Marvel.
Which is what happened with Ghost Rider, Punisher, all those.
Yeah, they just didn't make another one.
They just didn't make another one.
And they just let it go. Which is fine. I mean,
yeah.
I would prefer that instead of companies forcing out sequels like Fan4Stick just to own it.
I often wonder that because it had to cost them a lot of money to make that movie.
Fan4Stick?
And that movie did not do well.
No.
So
have you heard about the secret stuff? There's a Fantastic Four movie that was never intended to be released.
Yes. Yeah.
But it was to hold rights.
Right.
So
I think I've seen it.
Have you can get your hands on it.
Yeah, it's like a bootleg copy. Yeah.
So anyway, the deal that was struck by Marvel and Sony was Disney and Sony back in the day was because Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 didn't do well. They were getting tanked. They were getting critical pan. The fans weren't happy. So the arrangement was Marvel would loan Kevin Feige, some of their writers, stuff like that, over to Sony. Sony would actually finance, because that's one of the first misconceptions. People are like, Disney's financing these. No, that would be the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah.
For this, if this deal was legit and Disney fronted all costs, that would be so dumb.
Yeah. All right, we'll pay for the movie, and you guys can make the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, what?
That's super dumb. So the deal is Sony will finance the entire movie. Now, once again, this is not public information, so we don't know, like, were they cutting Kevin Feige a check? Or was he just funded by Disney?
Right. Hey, we need you to go over there like a freelance agent kind of thing.
MCU writers, were they funded by Sony? We don't know that whole deal. But Sony would fund the entire movie, and they would pocket most of the profits. The Disney Corporation would get 5% first dollar gross.
Okay.
Which basically boils down to the day the movie comes out, they get 5% of the earnings off the initial opening. Which back in the day worked out a lot better because, people didn't wait for digital and they didn't go see it later.
Yeah.
Opening day was always the big number. That's what everyone wanted.
Opening weekend, hope for the best.
When I was looking into this, actors like Leonardo DiCaprio, and I said this in the whiteboard rant, are notorious for taking that deal over regular. He made bank off Inception with that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that it's actually not unheard of to do that deal when you think that your movies are going to open big.
Right.
Because you have a potential to make a lot more money that way. So basically, that was the original deal. Spider-Man would be able to be in the MCU, and Marvel would loan Kevin Feige and whoever they needed, be it paid or not, to help complete the Sony projects and get them off the ground and make sure it's all incorporated properly and stuff like that.
Right.
That was the deal. This was apparently supposed to go on for 4 solo Spider-Man movies.
Okay. We've only had 2.
We've only had 2.
Yes.
And it was going to be at least 2 cameos. We don't know if there was more listed. Because Infinity War and Endgame both count as one for actors who died, apparently.
So technically Civil War
and then
Infinity War Endgame.
Yeah.
Is the 2. Okay.
So, and we actually thought it was 3 movies and then that cameo, but apparently they're still slated for 2 more movies. So it must have been 4.
I was going to say Tom Holland and all of them are slated for another 2 movies.
Right. Which was what we all thought it was 3. And this is what I'm saying. There is a ton of misinformation.
Right, yeah.
What was actually released to the public was 3 movies, and I don't even know if that was actually released or we just all assumed. Because the reason we know that there's 2 more planned, Tom Holland let us slip at Far From Home.
As he does.
Like, no one even knew that there was 2 officially planned.
Right.
There was always talks like, they're going to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't they? You know, everybody's making money.
There was no official word on a 4th movie until Tom Holland was like, yeah, the next one we're doing this, and then we're talking about possibly doing this with the 4th one. And I remember watching that interview, and the interviewer was like, so you're confirming a 4th movie? He goes, yeah, we're going to be doing that. He goes, no, Disney hasn't confirmed that, Tom. And he's
Are you confirming
he's
it?
Like, oh, well, I guess that's out now.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't even know who Spider-Man is.
But I remember watching the interview and just being like, oh, Tom Holland.
This is how you could tell Tom Holland isn't actually Spider-Man, because he totally would have let him slip his secret already.
So, catching you guys up with the story, on Tuesday night, late night, it was released because Natalie, I think we were playing Destiny or something. Natalie walked into the office because I play like Destiny stuff off the office computer. It's the most powerful one in the house, so why wouldn't I?
Sure.
I'm in there playing the games, and she comes in and she's like, you might want to make a video that Spider-Man's been kicked out of the MCU. And I remember we were playing it and I muted myself and I'm like, no, he hasn't. And I hit Google and I'm like, what?
He has. All right, to be fair, he hasn't been kicked out of the MCU. Just like Captain America was like, get out of here. Yeah.
We don't want you anymore. I'm too old to deal with your crap now.
Yeah.
So apparently Disney approached Fox. We don't know what spurred this. Supposedly, rumor mill has it from what Sony has come out and said. There's a issue with, I guess it started with, Kevin Feige helped with everything Fox has been doing. So he helped with Venom, and he's helping with Morbius, and he's helping with stuff like that.
Really? Okay.
But he's not getting any credit for it.
Right.
So from what I gather from basically what Sony's damage control response was, and from what Disney's saying, this all stemmed out of Kevin Feige wanting more credit for what he's done. Which I would agree with. That's fine.
Yeah.
And somehow that led to Disney trying to renegotiate the deal 2 movies early.
I see. Oh yeah, because what I originally read was that the initial argument was over producer credits.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's exactly what it was.
They
the initial argument
wanted Kevin Feige to have producer credits, I guess.
I guess on the Venom and Morbius and all the
okay.
stuff that Sony's doing. That's where it all started from.
Okay.
I don't know if they were saying no or what the deal was.
Right.
Obviously,
yeah.
he wasn't on Venom, so who knows? Maybe they just want. I mean, if I'm Sony and in the original deal, there is no need for Kevin Feige to be a producer on these things. Honestly, if I'm making my own movies, I don't want people to think Kevin Feige made my movie.
True,
I want them to think Sony made an awesome Venom movie, right? That's what I want. That's a different argument discussion in itself.
Yeah.
But apparently that led to Disney going, hey, I want to change our deal, 50-50 split. Now, Disney said we're going to co-finance 50% of it, but we want to take 50% of the profit.
Sure.
There has been other reports came out that the initial 50-50 offer wasn't the actual offer. Supposedly it could have been 70-30 in favor of Sony, which is why I was waiting so long to talk about this.
Sure, yeah.
More information is now coming out.
Right.
So 70-30, but regardless of it, whatever that deal is, that's insane for Sony to take.
Right.
Because remember, as it stands now...
They're currently getting 95% of the profits.
Yeah.
You want me to... Even 70-30, that's a
and they're funding
chunk.
They're funding the whole thing, too.
Yeah.
It's not like this rumor that Disney funded the movie is not true.
Right, yeah.
Like, that no movie studio would do that.
No, that would be
I'll tell you right
awful.
now, and that was the argument I had in the whiteboard rant, was Disney doesn't care about us or Spider-Man or whatever.
Oh, no.
If they did, they would have found a way to get him back in the MCU a long time ago.
Yeah.
They did not pull Spider-Man over to the MCU because they feel it'll be a better MCU. They didn't care. Otherwise, things would have been happening a long time ago. No, Spider-Man's in the MCU because they own the merchandising rights and they want Spider-Man to be a part of their merchandising.
It's all about money.
It's all about money.
I'm going to let everybody in on a spoiler alert. Companies care about money.
Yeah.
Disney, Sony.
Yes. I mean, I won't even lie. I mean, we take a lot of ads. We like our paychecks.
Yeah, I was going to say, because if you like the MCU, money pays for that. Money can be exchanged for services and goods.
Or actors.
Which would be a service.
Yeah, true.
So there you go.
So where we're at right now is apparently Disney came at them with either a 50-50 or a 70-30 offer. Okay. And Sony was like, no.
Yeah.
Which is now
isn't shocking, honestly.
No, in all honesty, it isn't.
Yeah,
if I'm getting, if you come to me and our deal is I'm financing the movie, but I'm pocketing all the money. You're keeping merchandising rights. You're getting 5% first dollar on gross. You also have the ability to make all the games, the cartoons.
Right, yeah. Everything else,
The only thing that I have is the movie rights, and our agreement is 4 movies and a couple crossovers, and then we're going to renegotiate. You came at me early?
I was like, I want more money.
That's what I mean. Like, and what I find to be the weirdest part, though, is the amount of misinformation is crazy. I've seen.
Well, that's just how the internet.
People are
is.
like, "Oh no, I heard that Sony countered with 10%." Like, no, Sony didn't counter. Sony just said no. There's no counter offer to this.
I heard Disney sent their mystical assassins,
Doctor Strange,
to take out Tom Holland. If that's what it comes down to.
I've seen rumors that Tom Holland has come out and said he'll never work with Sony again. Can't find that from anything in Tom Holland's camp.
Right.
Like, where did he say this?
That's funny because I've seen tweets where Tom Holland says, like, I will play Spider-Man until I'm too old to play Spider-Man.
Yeah. There's nothing from Tom Holland's camp that says I will never. I saw somebody send a Twitch chat earlier. They're like, yeah, Tom Holland unfollowed Sony. And I'm just like, did he? Or was he never following Sony?
An excellent question.
If you look at Tom Holland's Twitter, he uses it like once a month.
And that's usually just to spill spoilers.
Like, we're not talking about a guy who's frequently on his Twitter.
Yeah. He's like, Spider-Man 6. Damn it. Why do I keep doing this?
I mean, I've heard the only actor, as far as I know, that has come out and said anything. Who was it? It was, Jeremy Renner. Hawkeye.
Okay.
And he basically said, Sony, give us back Spider-Man. He literally said that in his tweet. It was like, we want Spider-Man back in the MCU, just give it back, and like hashtag Spider-Man. And
all right, here's what we'll do.
And he doesn't understand how it works because he hashtagged the bow emoji and they didn't work. Go Jeremy Renner.
Here's what we'll do. We'll have Disney at one side. We'll have Sony at the other. We'll put Tom Holland in the middle. Whoever he loves more, he'll go to.
Perfect. This is where Dan's supposed to be joining us, but I don't know what Dan's doing.
I don't know what Dan's doing either.
Yeah.
He's actually watching Spider-Man right now.
So, okay, I gave you all the bare bones information.
Yes.
Based on rumors you've heard, what do you think?
What do I think about the situation, or what do I think is really going on?
Both, because I've a lot of it is what I think is really going on, and I think it's a dirty tactic from Disney.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I mean, it realistically boils down to money. I think, what was it? Far From Home was supposed to be, I think, is the highest grossing
Sony film ever,
supposedly, yes.
Yeah.
Seeing that, I feel like Disney was like, oh shit, we need to get more of this money. It would suck if they, if Spider-Man's no longer in the MCU. Right. I'm not even 100% sure how that would work because his
they're going to reboot him. There's no clean way to do that.
The films have been so engrossed in the MCU.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
how just moving out of the overall thought of the whole thing. So
cool. So how would you we got 2 more Tom Holland Spider-Man movies and we're not going to mention... We're not going to mention Iron Man.
The Snap.
We're not going to mention the Snap.
No one else in the MCU.
Yeah, exactly. We're not even in the background. Like, you remember that thing that happened that one time? No, I don't remember that thing that happened one time, and neither should you.
Well, the one thing with that, though, is they technically could go on without mentioning those. Because Spider-Man Far From Home really wrapped up and closed those storylines out.
But they couldn't even continue the Mysterio plot reveal. How would you reveal that?
Do they not own Mysterio?
No. They own none of the Spider-Man characters. None of the villains, no one. They're all locked into Spider-Man. So anybody in those movies has been loaned by Sony.
Except J. Jonah Jameson. I'm pretty sure they still have him because they used him in the previous Spider-Man movies,
you guys are getting confused. He's saying that Sony could do that. They just can't mention anything else. You're saying they don't have access to the characters.
Oh, no.
You're talking about Disney. He's talking about Sony.
Because, if you think about it...
Can you give me my phone? Dan, bring it back.
Sorry, completely forgot.
I feel so blind without looking at the chat when we do this.
Well, because if you think about it, Mysterio at the end of Far From Home essentially passed the torch to J. Jonah Jameson in terms of turning everyone against Spider-Man.
Right.
They concluded everything with the Iron Man of passing it down.
I would say they concluded it, but
I mean, they won't be able to mention them, but they could also mention them in very vague terms.
I guess. Remember that rich guy?
Well, either that or remember your mentor?
Yeah.
Or think about what he would have wanted or something like that where they don't specifically need to say it. They have concluded it. Because let's be honest, none of us are at the moment going, well, how does he feel about Iron Man? No, they kind of closed that out.
He barely mentions him in Far From Home. Honestly.
Barely.
Yeah.
But they closed that out. The Snap's gone. They resolved all of that.
Yeah, but so my only argument would that be because obviously at the end of Far From Home they reveal that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and J. Jonah Jameson says he's a menace. He killed the hero Mysterio. He did all this crap.
Right.
And people are like, no, he's a hero. You remember that time he saved the world? And they're going to be like, no, we don't remember that time he saved the world.
I feel like that'd be something Deadpool pops in.
No, we don't talk about that.
They all of a sudden start referencing the other Spider-Man movies as if that was the time.
Tobey Maguire ones.
You remember that time he fought Green Goblin? No, I don't. No, he definitely he looked a little differently. But
I think he shrunk or something, but
got more ripped.
It's a weird situation because they can't cleanly do it. There's no way to cleanly do it.
There is no way to cleanly do it.
No, honestly, that's really
some fans are like, oh great, now we'll get Spider-Man and we'll get Venom in the same movie. It's yeah.
I do think Tom Holland as Spider-Man and Tom Hardy as Venom would be an awesome combination.
Right.
Just because they're so vastly different. I think that would be really cool because that's what Eddie Brock and Peter Parker are supposed to be.
Yeah.
I think that would be awesome. I also, it's kind of sad that he's no longer going to be part of the MCU.
For the record, there's no confirmation this won't be worked out. This is still
you're
fresh
right.
news.
Yeah.
Everyone's freaking out. They're like, Sony just give in. And I love the argument of,
Sony
Marvel made everything. Marvel made it what it is, so they should have rights to 50% of the profits. And my exact argument is, look, I'm not discounting that Marvel should have rights to their own characters. I'm not discounting that they don't have the MCU is what made those movies succeed, so they should get 50% of profits. I'm not even saying that is incorrect. That this is, you're right. They probably should. They also probably should have worked that out in the initial deal.
Yeah, honestly, it's realistically what it boils down to.
Yeah.
How many more movies is in the contract?
Supposedly Tom Holland and everybody attached to those movies is set for 2 more Spider-Man movies.
Regardless of the renegotiations,
we're still getting those 2 movies.
We're still getting those 2.
Yeah. No, that's what the talk is. This is going to end the contract prematurely. because they're trying to renegotiate prematurely.
So they're buying out of the
Tom Holland, and
Oh,
all
yeah,
of them
yeah.
are still attached to 2 more Spider-Man movies.
Right, so
even
it's-
if they're not included in the MCU.
the question is, would Sony want to do that though, or would they just reboot again?
I can't.
See, I could see them doing one of those ones like the storyline where Doctor Strange wipes the world's memory of
Something.
You can't use Doctor Strange.
But you can't use Doctor Strange.
except, but that's the thing.
Peter's like, you remember that time that wizard
that's
wiped everyone's memory? What wizard? I don't remember.
He was a
But
strange
here's
individual.
The thing with that. Here's the
And a
thing with
doctor.
that though is if you do use that right now, let's assume that they do get the next 2 movies.
Yeah. Then they
They
could do
can
that. Yes,
use
yeah,
Doctor
yeah.
Strange in those 2 movies.
They can't.
No, he's saying
I'm
if
saying
the deal
if the
works out,
deal-
if they
Oh,
work
oh,
something
if
out.
If the deal works
Yeah.
out,
Okay.
or if the current deal continues and like it
You
turns
could
out
close out Spider-Man that way.
exactly, they
Yeah.
could close it out. They could wipe the memory of everybody.
Yeah,
And
like
then
in the
obviously-
4th one, Peter's just like, I really just want to be a normal guy again.
Exactly, like
And Doctor
something like
Strange is
that.
like, "Woo."
He does. Woo! Look at me. Let me make circles.
Yeah.
Looks really good in this camera
Exact-
quality.
Exactly, just like that. But like they could easily close it out, and then afterwards, when they go, let's assume they go, okay, we'll run this one out. Now it's just us.
Yeah.
They could figure out a
They
way
could,
to do
if
that.
they could get the other 2 movies
Exactly.
combined.
So it would entirely depend on whether or not they were able to ride out the current contract,
Right.
whether or not Marvel and Disney are essentially going to go, no, we're going to buy our way out of this. Have fun.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, with the last 2 movies, they could just completely ignore everything from the MCU as well. Now, obviously, fans would be like, man, they don't even reference Tony Hawk. Why do I do that every time? Tony Stark.
Tony Stank.
Tony Stank.
I prefer Tony
It's
Hawk.
Twice now I've done Tony Hawk over
have.
Tony Stark.
I kind of prefer.
They could, people would be like, why aren't they referencing Tony or the Avengers or the Snap or anything like that? I mean, realistically, they could continue with the whole J. Jonah Jameson has revealed Peter Parker Spider-Man
Yeah.
without referencing the rest of them. They could.
It'd be clunky, but they
It
could.
would be clunky, but
Yeah.
it would work. They
Because they've
could
done it
do
before.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
They could do
exactly,
it.
they've made that work in the past.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It's kind of like Daredevil. Like unless he's relevant to someone else, he's
They
Hell
don't-
Kitchen. You
Yeah,
never
yeah.
hear about him unless he's actually needed. If they don't need him,
And it's probably he doesn't exist.
exactly.
Yeah.
I like Wolf Status's thing. Yeah, so my mentor, Tony Hawk, we're going to go
Yes.
see Dr. Weird
you
to
go.
wipe out.
Just start using off-brand Marvel characters.
It's the Incredible Bulk and I are going on an adventure.
The incredible bulk.
He's just like a chubby guy.
Whenever
like the
he gets
Blob.
mad, he gets fatter.
He gets hungry.
Won't like him when he's hungry.
He'll eat you.
When he's hangry.
I like the chat running with that. And I am Tony Hawk.
That would be awesome. I'd watch that film.
And he just does a 900.
Yeah. That's just blows Thanos' mind. He decides that
the
humanity
Infinity
does
skateboard. He's got
Oh,
the gems
genius.
infused.
Yeah.
in it.
If they don't get Tony Hawk to play Silver Surfer,
Oh my goodness. Okay, that's brilliant.
what is even the point?
Or Sean White.
Or
I'll
Sean
give
White.
them that.
Yeah.
Isn't there a famous
That'd be-
surfboarder?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, I don't know.
clearly
I
not
don't
that
follow
famous.
surfing. Yeah, the silver one.
So the whole situation is kind of clunky and weird in general. It's like, it's such a mess
Yeah.
Right.
because, so here's my theory. My theory is that this is what Disney planned all along. If you go all the way back to the beginning of this, Amy Pascal, she's the one who got the original rights to Spider-Man and has been riding that to her grave.
Yeah.
Good thing to ride.
Was stating in multiple interviews that they intended to bring back Spider-Man and either reboot or just carry on.
Yeah, I was gonna say after the first deal, she was quoted as saying, "Once this deal is done, we're gonna reboot him again." And they're like, "We haven't even gotten one movie yet. Calm down."
Well, luckily they also do have the easiest way to reboot Into the Spider-Verse.
That is true.
Like that is
Just grab another
legitimately-
Spider-Man?
Exactly. I mean, they showed that they have 2 Spider-Men that were essentially the same Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like they've already shown. I'm wondering if they actually did that on purpose to be like, hey, we've got this. We're gonna have another Into the Spider-Verse. We'll bring Tom Holland.
Right.
And
See,
Tony Hart.
I would and Tony Hawk. See, you
can't
couldn't
even
even do it right.
right.
There's your reboot. It's still Tom Holland, and at the very end of the movie, like they don't mention the MCU, the Avengers, the Snap,
Right.
nothing. The end of the movie, you have him looking into the multiverse, and he's like, "Oh, look at that one! It looks looks just like me working with other superheroes. Anyway,
Disney intended this all along.
Yes.
Because
that
she's talking.
crafty mouse.
No, seriously. She was talking about already pulling him back, either using Tom Holland or rebooting. She was going to pull them back, right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Makes it sound like they're sucked into a creative black hole. We're pulling them back in. Sorry, go ahead.
You got to think about this. They, from the get-go, fully integrated Spider-Man into the MCU. This wasn't like...
Yes, there was no first Spider-Man movie and then we
Right.
just happened to put him in the MCU.
Right, or
It
a
was
mention of Tony Stark.
He shows up in the MCU.
in Civil War, and
Yeah.
then the follow-on movie is his mentor, Tony Stark, teaching him.
Tony Hawk
Yep.
teaching him how to skateboard.
And then the following 2 movies, he's in the Infinity War doing all that stuff.
Yep.
And then the 3rd movie's all about the fallout from Infinity War and
Yep.
Endgame. So...
Yeah. He hasn't had his own separate stuff, really,
Right.
realistically.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I feel like Disney did this intentionally because you have basically 5 appearances of Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
None of them can be used outside of this universe at this point. And they go to Sony and go, we want 50% profits at this point.
Yeah. I
Right.
mean, he is tied very heavily into the MCU.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still think Into the Spider-Verse, they'll use Miles Morales.
See, I mean, and I'd be cool with
They'll
that.
kill him off without him having any lines. He'll jump through the portal, a bit of a malfunctioning portal, and he just dies.
He just gets sliced in half.
Yeah.
And they check him under the mask off screen, look at that.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's that other Spider-Man. Let's move on.
Let's go somewhere else.
And just to confirm what I'm talking about, we have people jumping in the chat mid-conversation, and they're bringing in the misconception. So as far as everyone knows, it's still 50-50. There's reports going around that it may have been 70-30, but it's not, that's the current offer. Apparently the rumor is that may have been the initial offer.
Right.
Neither of which are good deals. And that's what I wonder about this, because I feel like Disney did this, it's somewhat intentionally, because you backed Sony into a corner. Immediately, all MCU fanboys were like, "Sony, just back down!
Yeah,
Just take it." And on the flip side,
take it.
yeah, just bend over and take it, Sony.
Jesus.
There you go.
That got weird.
Immediately, they're all jumping on them.
eye
Sony is
contact,
now in a
Lord.
position of either accepting Disney's offer or facing a giant potential backlash.
Right, because I mean, even if they do reboot it at this point, all the MCU fans will be like, boycott the new Spider-Man.
Which won't
Unless he's-
actually work.
No, because people still go see it.
Yeah, they'll still go see it.
I'm also wondering if this is related to the bringing Venom into the MCU.
Where they were trying to push for that.
If they were trying to push for that, and then
awesome.
now they're kind of like, well, if you want to do that, let's make sure that we can keep Spider-Man
I feel like Tom
and make
Hardy's Venom would show up and just beat the crap out of half of the MCU. Honestly.
Venom versus the MCU.
Yeah, honestly, it would. The
I
only
would
person that
watch
could
that.
maybe take him into a fight would be Deadpool. From the MCU.
Yes.
From the MCU. Even though obviously Deadpool isn't technically part of the MCU yet.
Right.
Give it time. He'll show up in
It's
an
Human
after credits.
Torch.
Human Torch. Also not part of the MCU yet.
In a way-ish.
I'm waiting for Chris Evans to reprise his
That
role.
would be amazing.
He's like,
I
I've done his
really
cap.
hope so.
If
I
Deadpool doesn't make that joke whenever he shows up for an after credits scene.
No, not during after credits. It would have to be in the middle of the movie.
Just out of
Wait a
nowhere.
second. Who's this guy?
Just like he pops out from behind a paper and he's like, shouldn't he be in the Baxter building? Just that's it.
But yeah, no, it like they're gonna get a lot of flack. Twitter and
Yes.
everything's gonna blow up. But we've already seen in previous situations, Disney has recently been using a lot of social media pushes in their favor, getting
Yes.
people to side with them, like in the Fox deal.
Yes.
And people don't know what I'm talking about. The stocks of Fox plummeted once Disney was like, we're trying to buy you. And then they're like, that might not happen. And Fox went straight down.
Right.
People don't follow the financial reports, but right now, both Disney and Sony are down.
Yes.
Because
Because of all
news.
this, all the fighting and
So
it's just mega corporations.
it is. And what it is mega corporations altering, facilitating higher and lower stocks by pushing social media pushes.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so, for all we know, this whole thing has been fabricated just to make it all happen.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, did Disney really go at them and go, even if it was at the beginning 70-30, go, we want to take 30% of the profits and think that Sony's going to be like, sure, buddy.
Right.
Why not? I imagine, try to stay with me here, the Disney CEO who always dresses like Mickey.
Well, of course.
Right.
I thought it was Mickey.
Right. Mickey in like a suit. Right. Like wheeled around in his office
Okay.
and was like, get Sony on the phone. Give us more money, you bastards.
So Bob Iger,
yes, dressed as Mickey in a suit,
squeaking in his voice.
squeaking as Mickey.
And tell goddamn Cooper to pick up his laundry.
In my mind, the corporate world of Disney is a lot like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. For some reason. I don't know why.
Oh my goodness.
I don't have anything else to say.
Yeah, there's not much more to say on this
Yeah,
because most of the things that people are trying to claim that I've read, like Sony came back with a shitty counter offer, or Disney should be getting half the money because they're funding the movies. None of it's right. It's all rumors.
I think a big part of it as well is it's called negotiations.
That is true.
Like it takes a long time. Like how long did the Marvel
Fox thing took?
Like
a couple of years, didn't
exactly.
It? Yeah,
Like,
we only heard about it
time.
like I think a year out from the close.
I'm wondering if the reason why this has started now is because they're like, well, by the time
we
going
actually
off
decide,
it would be the end of the contract we already have. Like, because I mean, I could be wrong. There is no confirmation that this was they want to cancel. That's
it was a renegotiation, supposedly.
Yeah, it wasn't like both parties are like, listen, we're good, we'll call it.
Exactly, but there was no one that specifically said this potentially will cancel out the current contract and then we'll move from there.
I want to add to this with more public statements. I'm avoiding all the rumor mill stuff.
Okay.
Public statements with the companies. So more updates. Sony this morning released a Twitter tweet that basically stated the company was disappointed to see Disney's decision to no longer have Feige as lead producer on the Spider-Man films, claiming that it's because of Feige's increased workload following Disney's acquisition on Fox. They publicly stated this.
Okay.
Which, I mean, that is understandable,
big
too.
thing.
We just got this whole new mess of characters.
Right.
Kevin Feige, who has pretty much been the, running the MCU.
Yeah, he's the
it
showrunner,
would make
basically.
sense that they need him to help incorporate this, X-Men, Deadpool,
a group
Fantastic
of
Four.
heroes that do not have a solid
Exactly, like foundation. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it would make sense. Like, hey, we need him to go do this other thing.
Yep. Right. And according to this, Sony did go back with a counteroffer. Doesn't state what those offers were. 'Cause
Sure,
they're not
yeah.
publicly stating
No,
it.
no, they
That's
would.
smart.
Yeah,
They basically came back with other configurations, but Disney didn't want to do it. So that's what Sony is stating
That's
right
negotiations.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
you got to play hardball to get the best for your
Sure.
company.
And generally speaking, most business negotiations take a long time.
Exactly.
They're not like, it's not like a, hey, Dan, you want to do this? No? All right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Unless somebody comes forward with just the perfect deal, I guess, at the beginning.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
even then, most people would probably be like, let's see what else we can try to get out of them.
We've done that
Right.
before. I've had deals. I'm like, that's perfect. Can I go lower?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, that's just how business works.
According to this, if the failed negotiations stand, that means Feige will no longer serve as producer for the next two Spider-Man films starring Tom Holland, which are already apparently planned.
Yes.
And that will cause an
That's
issue.
what I read, yeah.
Yeah.
Is John Favreau still a part of it?
I think none of them would be in general.
No, I think, he's generally,
'Cause
I
as
think he's
far
only
as
been an
you've-
executive producer on a lot of stuff, but he's also doing a lot of their Star Wars stuff now.
That is true, but at
Yeah.
the same time, the only person that I have heard specifically named is Kevin Feige.
So
Yes.
moving on.
I mean, that adds to just the rumor mill of
Right.
people hear these things and then assume
Yeah.
that it's all these other things as well.
Because I do know they have John Favreau doing a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
Lion King and Star Wars and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And the guy's amazing.
Yeah,
Let's be
he
honest.
is.
I got one more thing I want to bring up, but first we have to open a portal to the toothbrush world. Da-da-da-da-da. Put it up. Today's podcast is sponsored by Quip. School's starting back up, so it's the perfect time to get a new toothbrush and make a good impression. Quip has great toothbrushes that have sensitive sonic vibrations for an effective clean that's sensitive on your gums. These toothbrushes come with a built-in 2-minute timer and 30-second reminders to switch sides, and you get an all-around perfect clean. You can also get new brush heads sent to you on the dentist's recommended schedule of every 3 months for only $5. I'm a big fan of the 2-minute timer since I'm usually pretty tired in the morning and not fully awake just yet. That's why I love Quip and why it's perfect for getting back into a routine. Quip starts at just $25, and if you go to getquip.com/RNBE now, you can get your first refill pack for free. That's your first refill pack at getquip.com/RNBE. All right, so following on to our
You
story.
didn't close the
Yeah,
Oh,
portal.
my bad.
Jesus, man.
It's fighting me. The Quip is strong.
The Quip is strong. Now there's your tagline for the website.
You know what? I'm actually
I've
going to
never
say
heard
right
one.
now. I'm going to say right now. Quip is the perfect ad for a Spider-Man related discussion because he is full of quips.
That is true.
So anyway,
They are
Stan
not
Lee's
sponsored by each
daughter
other.
came out bashing Disney, actually, and Marvel.
Stan Lee's daughter?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Her comment is, Marvel and Disney are seeking total control over my father's creation, and they must be checked and balanced by others who, while still seeking profit, have a genuine respect for Stan Lee and his legacy. AKA, cameos don't cut it.
Yep.
She goes on, whether it's Sony or someone else, the continued evolution of Stan's characters and his legacy deserves multiple points of view. When my father died, no one from Marvel or Disney reached out to me. From day one, they have commoditized my father's work and never shown him or his legacy any respect or decency. In the end, no one could have treated my father worse than Marvel and Disney's executives.
That's very
Which
fair.
actually puts a different light on this, because everyone's trying to side, and that's what irritates me. Everyone's trying to side with Disney Marvel.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, they don't care about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't care
honestly,
about
they're-
getting Spider-Man to begin with.
Yeah, yeah. Realistically, it comes down to the bottom dollar.
Yeah, it's all about the money.
Yeah.
And they don't care in the end about all of this stuff. So her statement, I kind of agree with at this point for some reason. Like, I
Yeah.
kind of agree, like, yeah, maybe everything shouldn't be under one house. Because as much as people like to bash the X-Men movies, they would not have been how they are without the MCU. Now, for better or for worse, they're going to be completely different in the MCU.
Yes.
Yep, that
Just
is true.
look at Raimi's Spider-Man and even the crappy Amazing Spider-Man movies
Right.
compared to the overall vision of the MCU Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are people who, like, I know a lot of people are freaking out about MCU Spider-Man. There are people who don't like Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Yes, I am aware of that.
Yeah,
Yes.
like, not everyone is like, greatest
Yeah.
Spider-Man ever.
Yeah, no, I fully agree because it's also like Into the Spider-Verse. I don't think it would have been that movie.
Out of respect, hold on. Wolf Status is right. I said in the thing her actual name. I didn't say her name. I just said Stanley's
okay.
daughter. I said it in the whiteboard rant, but
Yes.
it's they have her as JC in here, and that's why I didn't say her name. There it is, Joan Cecilia Lee.
Okay.
They just had it as JC, so when I was reading through it, it's like Stanley's daughter. instead of
Right,
saying
you
JC.
probably in your head thought of the rant.
Yeah,
that you
right,
already
yeah,
said.
Yeah, I was already. My apologies on that for anyone who's like, "Oh, you're not showing your respect." You're right, and I apologize.
But like Into the Spider-Verse, I have not met someone that did not like the movie. For one, it would not have been the same if it was the MCU because
Right, it
the
wouldn't.
MCU would have grabbed it and been like, how can we incorporate this
This into the MCU?
And it would not have been what it was. And I think that is the perfect example of what she's saying. You need those different points of view. Whether or not it's good, whether or not it's bad, you don't know until you have that other point of view,
yeah.
and you don't know until they've done it.
And also, real quick, because a couple comments in, because the abuse of her father, the Stanley's daughter thing.
Yes, yeah.
Supposedly that was not so much her and more the individual who I think is going to prison now over it.
I believe so.
Like, there's actual that
The taking advantage of Stanley. When
Yeah.
he
Yeah, it was like his assistant. Or
yeah, it was
something
like the
that.
guys. There's an inquiry that is going to end with him in prison. So if she was involved, she would be in prison too.
Right.
I think the issues with that was a lot of misinformation as well.
Yeah,
because no one was talking, so everyone was
The
just assuming.
internet
That
gets
right
something
there.
wrong.
That right there is the name of the game in all of this.
Yeah.
Misinformation, really loud people on Twitter with a lot of followers,
Yep.
and very gullible people that read the title of things without actually reading the article. I even actually saw a tweet earlier. It was not related to this, but it was a guy bashing on an article related to the WoW Classic thing.
Okay.
And then he even responds later on of, oh, I actually read the article. It's actually not bad. It's not going to... And I'm like... That is the prime example.
Well, it's what a lot of people just read the headlines.
Exactly.
They just read the headline, move on, and start ranting about it. They don't even read what actually happened in the article.
Or if
that's
they check it on Reddit and they read the headline, see what the comments say.
Yeah, and then kinda go from that, yeah.
That got a lot of upvotes. I'm going to agree.
You guys are going to kick out of this. So the news came out. I clicked the IGN article. I read
Okay.
the exact thing that said that Disney approached Sony. The article at the time, all it said was Disney approached Sony with a 50-50 split deal. Sony said no.
Okay.
And said the original
It's not
deal.
really much of an article. Like.
Well, it's the IGN. It explained the initial situation.
Sure. Okay.
Right.
And I tweeted out like, "What? We're gonna lose Spider-Man because Disney wants more money?"
Mm-hmm.
And a few people were like, "No, it's Sony." And people were like this, but one guy responded with, "It's not Disney. It's Sony. Did you even read the article? Stick to comics." And I responded with, "I did read the article. Do you know what reading comprehension is? You should probably reread that." And he responded, starting to call me names and stuff like that.
Well, of course, it's the
That was
internet.
actually just me.
Right.
I
Started
made
to
my
call
own
me
Twitter
names and
account.
stuff, which I was getting a kick out of. I'm like, wow, he's got heated quick. Let me see if I can find the original.
This is actually the real reason Andy doesn't tell us his Twitter account.
Yeah.
It's so that he can argue with Benny.
I can mostly troll.
Oh,
Benny.
it was you? It was you the whole time?
Yeah, I just troll you.
How can I troll Benny today? And what creative things can I call him?
Oh, here it is. And I should find the right
And
guy.
his hair is stupid.
And his hair is stupid. Thanks, Andy.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that one.
Oh, gosh.
So many people jumped on this. They were just telling me right or wrong. But this guy, so he basically boiled down to him like saying like, oh no. He basically started calling me names. And then his counter argument was, well, Disney should be getting 50% because they own Marvel and Marvel owns the character, so they should be getting 50%.
That is false.
It's very false.
And he goes, and
in
you
the
don't
world
understand.
of business, that doesn't work at all.
No, and he goes, and you don't understand financials, so you should stick to comics. Like he would call me a name and always end with stick to comics. To which I'd respond with, I really want to find the original thing. I pretty much followed up with the original deal was 5% first on gross, and I explained what first on gross is. And I'm like, Disney signed that deal. Do you not understand financials?
I just want this guy to follow all of Ben's tweeters. And Ben's like, oh, I had a great dinner tonight. And he's like, you don't even know what a great dinner is. Stick with comics.
And I'm just having this laugh. And eventually I just got, I'm like, and you're not even arguing. You're literally just throwing names out there.
Yep.
Stupid.
Because like he
Welcome
responded
to the
with,
internet.
oh, cry more about it. And I'm like, cry? What are you even talking about? Like,
You were crying.
I've been correcting you. How is that crying?
You were crying about it. I saw it.
Well, he was crying, and he was like, well, if I'm crying, clearly he's
Obviously
crying.
he is.
Yeah, so I just pretty
Stick
much...
to
so at that point, I
You
pretty
don't
much-
know how to cry. Stick to comics.
So I pretty much just I'm like, you're just name calling and claiming that I'm crying. This isn't a productive argument. I'm done with this. Bye-bye.
Only a crybaby would say that.
And he responded with, enjoy
comics.
the L. And I'm like, what is enjoy the L? So I Googled it, and it's like, enjoy the loss. I'm like, what
He had to abbreviate it. He probably didn't know how to spell
like,
loss.
you
You don't
abbreviated
even know how to
loss?
spell law. Stick to comics.
Like, he's enjoy the L. I'm like, is that a signature? Like, is that his name? And then I'm
Right.
like, who abbreviates 4 letters?
Yeah.
I'm going to start abbreviating my name and saying that. Enjoy the A. No, that didn't
Nope.
sound right.
I would avoid that.
Nope, yeah.
Don't do it.
Avoid
It's
that.
gonna be definitely taken out of context at some point.
No, Andy. Try it again.
No, I'm good.
So, yeah, anyway. And also
do
at the
the same
beginning, he
either.
also
Enjoy
like...
the D.
at the-
Yeah, no, yours is bad. Don't do
At the
that.
beginning, his argument was like, stick to comics because I enjoy your videos. Like
Listen, I think you're great, but stick to comics. I don't need you branching out. All right?
Stop thinking, man.
Yeah, Jesus, just read
Tell
something.
the stories.
Read Venom or something. I don't give
never
a
mind the fact he's like, you don't understand financials. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I got a good grasp on it, but what did I miss?
shit. No, he doesn't. We do that for him.
So, overall, I mean, there's really not much more to say about this whole thing. It's just
Yeah.
Disney wants more money, regardless of whether or not you feel they deserve more money or they have had more involvement or whatever it is. That's not the deal that was cut.
Yeah, that's not how business works.
No,
Yeah.
the deal that was cut was Sony finances, Sony pockets. Marvel gets all the merchandising, all the video games, all the cartoons. They get everything else.
Just add him into
lot
the
of
MCU.
money.
Yeah.
it is.
So I legit think that this was kind of orchestrated by Disney to try and push Sony
Right.
into making a decision.
Well, I think we can all agree you should stick to comics.
Well,
I'm wondering if they were like, you know what? The Sean Gunn, right?
yeah, James Gunn.
Or James Gunn, thank you.
Sean Gunn is his brother, is also in the
Yep.
movies. Yeah.
The James Gunn thing, they were like, you know what? That got a lot of publicity and
true.
made a lot of hype behind Guardians 3. Let's kind of see what we can do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Push some buttons.
I wonder if that's the deal they worked out with Sony. Listen, let's just talk about, let's negotiate for like a couple of months, and then we'll just work it out.
Well, I think it's a shrewd movie. Two movies left, right?
Yes.
Okay.
With Tony Hawk.
You can't tell me
Tony
they've
Hawk.
already done all the MCU portions. I guarantee you the next two, their intention is to kind of start separating him away from the MCU.
Yeah.
That's what I would assume.
So they can start using him more
Honestly.
in Sony.
That's
'cause they
exactly
want-
what they'll do.
So it makes sense for Disney to come in and be like, no. We want more money before we do that.
Yeah.
Like we did our part. He's in the MCU. Now you give us more money before you get him back.
Listen,
Right.
we made him popular, damn it.
Exactly.
Nobody knew who Spider-Man was before the MCU.
Right.
All right.
A lot of people also forget that if things had gone differently, Sony would own every Marvel superhero.
Yeah.
Because a long time ago,
Yeah.
Marvel tried to sell them all because they almost went bankrupt.
Yep.
Yes, that's
And
why
Sony was
everybody.
like, nah, we'll just take Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's why Fox had so many and Sony has
Exactly.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
And Universal with the Hulk.
Yeah, Universal talk.
So yeah, I mean ending thoughts on this before we talk about Batman 77 and spoil it.
I mean, I made my thoughts known.
Yeah.
Just rewind the video.
Just press replay.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it boils down to either we'll get him still in the MCU or they'll reboot him.
Yeah. I think
Honestly.
either way, I think there have been advancements towards Spider-Man that at the very least Sony probably has taken notes and learned things.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully we won't run into an Amazing Spider-Man thing again.
Exactly.
We'll get another Raimi.
Yeah.
It doesn't really hold up as well, but there's still some things in that are great.
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly,
Pretty much
Spider-Man,
the third one sucks. Everything.
Spider-Man
the first
2
two are
I
good.
thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Are you
my
saying
favorite one.
Raimi was bad? Because isn't he also now writing a Spider-Man book?
No.
No?
Who am I thinking? Abrams. That's what I'm
Abrams.
thinking.
You're
Sorry.
thinking Abrams. Yeah.
Yep. I got the names
Sam
wrong.
Raimi
I
did the
apologize.
original Spider-Man trilogy.
Okay.
So, all right. So now I'm going to tell these two what happened in Batman 77. If you are hardcore, don't want spoilers on it, I would vacate now. But
I'm going to guarantee there's going to be someone in the comments that looked away for 5 seconds when you said that. That's true. And came back and went, "You're spoiled Batman 77."
luckily, spoilers in comics aren't really as crazy as like, don't spoil Endgame for 2 weeks, Benny.
Right.
I'm going to spoil Batman. Bruce Wayne is Batman.
So,
I know.
God damn it.
I know.
as it stands right now in the city of Bane,
Sure, which is quite possibly one of the best Batman plot lines ever
Andy's a
created.
huge fan. It's been superheroes are not allowed to enter the city.
Sure.
And if anybody from the Bat family goes into the city, they will kill Alfred.
Right.
Damian goes into the city.
As he does. It's Damien. That's not even a spoiler alert. You just had to assume that was going to happen.
He showed up and they're like, "You're part of the Bat family." No, I'm the son of, or
nobody
grandson
will-
of the Ghouls.
yeah, technically.
He shows up, fights against Flashpoint Batman, basically
Okay.
telling him, like, and they even warn him, you should go. And he's like, no, I do what I want. My father was wrong. You guys won't do anything.
Okay.
They beat the tar out of him, tie him to a chair, and then Bane literally breaks Alfred's neck in front of him.
Holy
That's how they end the book.
damn.
And they literally say, you did this. You could have prevented that. And they're like, and if you're sitting there going, oh, no one's going to come in the city now that we've killed Alfred, we have a new hostage.
That is.
So here's what Tom King did. Allow me to explain.
So Alfred's killed, like, as far as we know. Done.
All right, first of all, Alfred's not dead.
Well, he's dead in terms of Batman.
Yeah, so he'll be back
Like-
next issue.
It actually was. It
Yeah, I
wasn't-
don't even know if
It
it-
was Clayface the whole time.
Tom
Yes.
King decided, because DC, who is probably going to be owned by Disney at some point,
Give it time.
was like, listen, you're off the book on issue 85. And Tom King went, really? All right. Alfred, dead. You keep this shit up, Damien next. That's what he did.
So this isn't
Then
like
Red-
this isn't the plot.
This
is
was
Tom
not
King-
even
Yeah.
planned. He was literally
holding
like
them
got
hostage.
he got like out a notepad and he was like, really? Off at 85, am I? I'm gonna
Let's-
come up with the most nonsensical bullshit I can
Right.
and kill Alfred.
Let's kill off the entire Bat family. Have fun, DC.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do a whole issue where Thomas Wayne sings a lullaby for some reason. Teach you guys.
I like your theory.
That's a good theory. Yeah,
so
yeah,
he
yeah.
should
I'm
kill-
almost guaranteeing,
he's holding
though,
them all
it's
hostage,
Clayface.
all the Bat family.
That's what it is.
Until he gets the
Yeah,
book
yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah.
I'm thinking
Actually-
you
And they're like, fine, we'll give you 87. He's like, oh, looks like Dick Grayson's going in the city next.
Is Clayface back? I remember he got killed.
no, he drove off into the
Spoiler
sunset.
alerts, don't
Okay.
Andy it up. Jesus Christ.
He is back though.
No, he's just gone. Like we don't know where he is.
But didn't he get killed in that one by
In
Batwoman?
Detective Comics, he did get killed,
Okay.
but he's back to life.
Okay.
We only know that because he was seen dropping a letter off and then driving
Okay.
off.
So
Right.
he is technically
Yeah,
back,
Basil's
but
good
not,
still. as
I'm
far as
pretty
we know.
sure it was
Basil.
part of.
Not Basil.
I'm
That's
pretty
a-
sure it was part of the Nightmare storyline because there was a lot of crap in there. They didn't make any damn sense. They were like, "Hey Tom, you know he's dead, right?" And they were like, "Nah, he's not." But
Not
Alfred is.
anymore.
But Alfred is.
So what do you think? What do you think about killing Alfred?
I think it's stupid
Of all the Bat family
because
members,
he's not dead. That's the worst part. There's no emotional weight to that because Alfred isn't going to be. We're not going to have another 80 years of Batman, and they're going to be like, remember that time Alfred died?
You know what? I actually have a question. What if he is legitimately dead? Let's say, for argument's sake,
that they actually kill Alfred.
He is gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alfred does not exist in the living world anymore.
Okay.
He is
Or
dead
the living
man
comic
now.
world.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wanted to say.
No, I'm
dead
with you.
man,
I'm with
okay.
Yeah, let's say that this actually is permanent. Because I agree with you.
Then I'm sad that it was wasted on such a shitty storyline. Because Alfred dying has a lot of emotional weight for Bruce Wayne
Well,
and
he
the rest
doesn't
of
know
the
yet.
Bat family.
Yeah. For the record, no one else knows yet.
No, let me get to my point. Alfred dying would have a lot of emotional weight on Bruce and the rest of the Bat family. Because he also raised Dick Grayson.
Yep.
Not so much Tim Drake, because Tim Drake's father kind of was like the neighbor, but he was there.
He was
he
involved
was
in their life.
He was
made
involved in their
tea
lives. Yes, but I mean, realistically, I would say he would consider both Bruce and Dick Grayson his sons.
Right.
So him dying would have a lot of emotional weight, and honestly,
And Justice handled it well.
if he is actually dead
In main continuity.
I am sad that it is wasted on such a shitty storyline. Honestly,
Now-
that would be my reaction.
Here's a thought. Because I remember early on, you guys were having theories of what the Tom King, it's going to change it all, was going to be.
Sure,
right?
maybe it is Alfred.
And we were speculating that Batman was going to kill Thomas Wayne,
Yep.
the Flashpoint Batman.
Okay.
What if the death of Alfred is what pushes Batman into
actually kill-
into doing that of
Right.
killing someone,
His
anyone.
pseudo father, because it's not technically. I mean, it's technically his father, but it's not really his father at the
Exactly,
same
it's
time.
like the different multiverse.
People are saying that how is he going to handle this and try to get his revenge? Is this
Exactly.
going to push him over the line to
Right,
fight
right.
not Thomas but Bane?
Yeah.
And this kind of falls in line with what I was saying because apparently Tom King was going to do something so big,
Yeah.
so large with giant ramifications that
Yeah.
it would have changed the character forever, and they just vetoed it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm wondering if this is related to that. Like Alfred dies, he goes and murders his
Right,
father and
right.
Bane, and then he has to deal with that. Like, and I could see Tom King though, and final page, and Batman kills Thomas Wayne. The end. All right, next writer, have fun.
No, he actually goes, all right,
Screw you
Batman
guys.
goes on a killing spree, kills every single villain.
Really frees up Arkham.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just blow up Arkham, honestly.
Yeah.
You just got to try to get it before one of them escapes. That way you get them all in one shot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because if you give it like a weekend, they're all getting
Well,
out.
I don't know. I mean, based on Deathstroke, apparently people get abducted
That's
by
true.
aliens.
That's true.
And then returned.
Jesus, spoiler alerts, man. Come on.
You're right. It's not.
Really
Stop
Andying
Andying it up.
Stop Andying it up.
I like how we verbed your name.
Yeah, well, I like to verb myself a lot, actually. Doesn't sound right.
I feel like half this podcast for you out of context
Yeah.
is just
Yeah. Most of what I say taken out of context is not good. Most of it in context actually isn't great either, honestly.
So yeah, I know. I thought you'd be able. It's funny to hear your reaction because you're just like he'll be back. It's Alfred.
I mean, honestly, he will. It's like if they tell me Bruce Wayne died again. Like if Tom King's
Right.
run ends with Bruce Wayne dying again, I'm like, all right, well, how long until he comes back?
Yeah.
Like give him like what, 2 issues? What are we talking about?
Or
Yeah.
Damian Wayne when he got killed as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's
No,
what
no,
I'm
no.
saying.
They did. I found that one weird because they actually made a big deal about Damian dying as if it was going to be permanent.
Yeah.
They even had the Requiem issues,
Right, yeah.
and like
And then he came back with superpowers.
it was really cool.
He just came back as Superman for some reason. Super Robin. Robin
Lex
Man?
revives him.
Dan and my theory on that is he came back with powers, and they thought, oh, it'd be great if you did a story about Superman and his son because you seem to know what you're doing over here, Tomasi. Then he did Super Sons, and then he got also kicked off of that.
They're like, you know what? You don't get kids anymore.
You know what?
Get outta
We'll
here.
just get Tom King to do it. And he was like, okay. I guess sure.
So
But I don't know. I'm under the assumption, because I hate to say it, of all the Bat family members to permanently die, Alfred would be the most influential
Yes.
because he is related to everyone, but also, no offense to Alfred, is not as important in terms of continuing Batman-related stories.
I would say he's more of a cornerstone, actually. Because
Yeah,
he is the
honestly.
guy that helps him sort out his thoughts. He helps calm him down.
True,
He gets-
but it's very
he
similar
feeds him.
to like Wally West.
After 3 issues, we just have malnourished Batman.
Jesus, who's cooking in this household?
Ah, shit.
He's like, Barbara, Robert, bring some takeout, please.
My point being, like, it's kind of like when they did kill off, insert random Flash because they've all died at some
Sure,
point.
yeah.
It was a huge factor, but things did move on.
Oh yeah,
without
things
them.
would move on without Alfred, but
Exactly.
I would also say that Ben is right. He is a cornerstone of Batman. Without Alfred, I feel like Batman would have slipped into like the Punisher.
Exactly.
Honestly.
But
I would
well,
read that.
Remember, we're also going into Year of the Villain.
Yeah, you're right.
Like there are so many
He
things.
comes back evil.
Event Leviathan.
We have that guy. Right here.
Alfred is Leviathan.
Oh,
I liked your idea that he's just Clayface.
That's the one I'm.
They actually
more
never
sticking
had
to.
Alfred. Alfred
Yeah.
escaped forever ago.
but we got Basil Carlo. Carlo. What's his last name? It's
you
like-
can like twist his head around and you
Yeah, he's like, aha! And he just keeps spinning. Woo, scary.
Now, for the record, what has been stated
This is
actually,
on record.
No, I'm saying Tom King has actually not boasted this as being like I killed Alfred.
Sure.
He's actually boasted the storyline
I
as
killed the
being
entire plot of Batman.
No, actually, it's actually a plot against Damian because Damian always just does whatever Damian wants, regardless of consequences.
There we go. There's the twist. Bruce has actually orchestrated this entire thing to
test him.
teach Damian a lesson.
Sadly, I believe he would do that.
It does seem very
would.
Batman.
He was
Yeah,
Bane
yeah, yeah.
the whole time.
And the way that this issue is being toted is Damian finally has to deal with major consequences for
Right,
his
yeah,
actions.
yeah.
Because no Bat family member was going into Gotham. That was the plot. They were
Right,
not
yes.
supposed to.
I remember what it was the last issue where it was him and Tim were standing on like a rooftop outside of the city.
Yeah, they're
or something
right
like that.
outside.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
can't
yeah.
go in, and
Bloodhaven.
and Damian did it anyway,
so,
and
yeah.
now they've killed Alfred. So it's being toted as being like, well, Damian has to deal with the consequences of his actions. For
Yeah,
once.
right.
And the consequences, he got Alfred killed.
Right.
This isn't like we just killed Alfred. I actually like the idea of what they've done with it, but like you said, it's really going to come how it plays out.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
Alfred comes back in an issue, it's like,
I give it 2.
you give it to him?
I actually give it potentially.
Ooh.
I bet he had the plans of taking it till 100 and then bringing him back, and he's now
Possible,
like,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I should probably give them my notes.
Nah.
Oh, I mean, normally with the Twitch chat, I don't mention them too often in the stream, but I will on the podcast. But I will say this one: Man Without Beard says, or at the end, Thomas Wayne becomes the new Alfred.
That'd be dumb.
No, I don't
That'd be
think
so
that would.
dumb.
That would
You don't
never
think so?
happen. That
No,
would never
that was
happen.
so stupid.
Why not?
That would absolutely
Thomas
never
Wayne
happen.
redeems himself by being like basically
'cause-
helping out Batman.
No,
Why would
why?
he trust him?
Yeah.
Why would he trust him?
Alfred
Why
has
would
been
he
there
go,
his
"You know what?
entire life.
No, he
Exactly.
wouldn't be like Alfred again. He wouldn't. Batman wouldn't be like, oh, I don't need Alfred. I got
So
my
now,
dad.
wait. So now in that scenario, we have some sort of strange Batman Beyond, but the Batman Beyond is still Bruce, and the old Bruce is Thomas.
Right.
And he's just like, you should probably just use a gun. Just shoot him. Just shoot. Did you try shooting him? Listen, I stabbed Reverse Flash.
No, he shot him in the head, didn't he?
In
No,
the cartoon, he shoots him in the head.
Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Comic,
the
he
comic stabs
stabs
him with a
him.
sword.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I think a great way to move on from this would be changing Damian forever. He flips out and starts killing the villains.
Sure.
Damian
Now, he
becomes
is
Alfred.
now dead. Are we just listing things that are never going to happen all of a sudden?
Bat Dog.
He becomes the new Ra's al Ghul, is where I was going with that.
That would be.
Yeah.
I can see
Like,
that.
Well,
because
is that the Batman Beyond feature?
that
No.
is no, but in a lot of futuristic.
In the comic for Batman Beyond, Damian.
Oh, the comic.
Yeah,
I thought I was talking
which
about the
continues
cartoon.
the
Yeah,
show's
yeah.
plot. It
Yeah,
does.
yeah, yeah.
Damian and his father have a falling out because of things like this. And I forget what it was exactly, but they had a big falling out.
Right, he kills Alfred.
Alfred dies.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Was it? Did Alfred die? Is that
I
the
don't
reason?
know. I'm pretending because of the conversation.
Okay.
Makes sense.
But either way, Damian retreats because he feels that Batman's methods just don't work, and he goes to live with his grandfather and becomes the new Ra's.
And then
I
turns out Thomas
legitimately
Wayne takes
was
over.
Ra's the whole
Ra's-
time.
Oh,
Okay,
these
that actually would be kind of cool.
These plots are so much
Tom,
better
are you
than Tom
watching?
King.
Tom King. I, for one, like your stories, Tom King, if you're watching.
I like some of your stories, just not your Batman. His Grayson run was pretty good.
I love Grayson. Grayson was amazing.
Yeah,
That was a good one.
His
Which,
Batman
for the
run
record,
was
that's
crap.
why I dislike Rick Grayson, because I feel like they're just trying to do what Tom King did, but not all the way.
Not fun.
Right.
Yeah, not fun. Like instead of making
His
him a
Grayson run was fun.
instead of making him a secret spy agent for a secret organization, now it's like he's a guy who doesn't want to be called Dick, and he puts grease paint on his face.
And he wears the
have you seen they half gave him back the costume?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Like why?
I think I legitimately
It's funny that you can't
think
get
Alfred's
beyond that, but you think Thomas Wayne singing a lullaby for an issue is golden.
Right.
I never said I've said multiple times I like the Tom King story. Every one of his stories for the most part should be cut down by like 2 or 3 issues. Everything drags out way too long in his storylines.
Or like
and then the ones I
85.
want to know more information on, like when Dick got shot in the head and Batman was chasing KGBs, he wraps up in an issue. I'm like, this would have been an awesome 4-issue arc of trying to track down KGBs for killing Dick.
All right, you ready for this? You ready for this?
I'm ready for this. I'm sitting down.
Alfred comes back
Right.
as Fred Pennyworth. And he's lost his memory.
What?
And is the secret agent version of him.
And 4 people find his
And they
other
all
butler
dress-
outfit.
They all dress up as butlers.
And the team
And
Pennyworth.
Fred Pennyworth.
I like the idea of Fred Pennyworth. I'm not gonna just the name. I love it.
Fred Pennyworth.
Fred Pennyworth.
Fred Pennywise. And he just becomes
Now
Pennywise.
you ruined it.
Fred Penny 1.
Oh.
Or just Fred Penny.
Whatever happened to Penny 1 and 2? What happened to his daughter?
She did other things.
No, hold on. Scott Snyder invented Alfred
Yeah.
having a daughter that
Oh,
helped
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Where is she?
Tom King was not worried about that. He's like, let me bring in Thomas Wayne to sing lullabies for an
She
issue.
was in the Alfred
The
costume.
whole time. Oh my God, it's perfect.
I still prefer Fred Pennyworth.
I think that's
Because
pretty
like
good, yeah.
when he
read
was,
that.
But he's got like a goatee now.
she became Kate Kane's Alfred.
So pat.
So his whole family is just butlers.
Actually,
Yes.
yeah, if you look back on the history of Alfred Pennyworth,
Yeah.
the Pennyworth family, yeah.
Fred Pennyworth.
Yeah. He was, I mean, because he was a spy, but like I think it was his uncle or his great somebody was like one of the Wayne's butlers.
No,
Yeah.
he was, because then he died, and that's
Yeah,
why
yeah,
Alfred
yeah,
went
yeah.
there. You're right.
Yeah, most of the plots involve he was like, I don't want to be a butler, like because my family
Right.
just wasted their lives
Because
being butlers.
he was like
Yeah.
MI6 or
Yep.
SAS or something at one point.
MI6.
Yeah. I think there's a show about it right now.
Oh,
on Stars.
I just realized what they're
Actually-
doing. I'm gonna end the show on this. They're killing him off so he can come back and not tell anyone and be an MI6 agent again, so it matches into the TV show
that's possible.
out.
It really is like Grayson. And that might be good.
Just call him Fred, please.
Fred Pennyworth.
He goes by the name Fred.
What's your name? Pennyworth. Fred Pennyworth.
The best way to segue into doing that, right? Is make it- 'cause, I mean, no
It
one's
actually
The
would work.
easiest way to make anyone a secret agent is to kill them.
This is true. He's actually going to become Bane's butler. Little do you know.
Genius.
On that one, we will see you guys later. This is going to be the end of today's episode. Dan, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitch at Dan T Streamer or on Twitter and Instagram at Dan T Producer. I post a lot of pictures of my cat on Instagram.
Andy,
That's
where they can
all I
find you?
post.
You can find me at Fry Am the Andy on Instagram. I also post a lot of pictures of Dan's cat, but he doesn't know. Usually it's from the bushes.
And Dan, who was our sponsor today?
Our sponsor was GetQuip. If you go to getquip.com/RNBE, you can get your first refill pack for free. Do you like that?
I did. It was a very nice thing.
Thanks to my brushed teeth, I was able to sing that well. Thank you, GetQuip.
And Gary, where can they find you?
I can find me at Film Circuit. That was a pretty good impression of Gary.
That
Not
was
gonna lie.
spot on.
All right. And cut.